Yeah, so Faye, right, is the artist and writer for the project Tiny Rex, which is a generative NFT project backing a series of children's books with a primary goal of bringing comfort and aid to children in need. I love this project because there's a real life application with this project. And like if you have been in the NFT space, you see a lot of projects where they tell people to just buy something, but there's no function, no utility. So I love what Faye is doing, and yeah. So Faye, yeah, we'd like to share a bit about more about your project with everybody here.
Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Just wanted to check. Yeah, so my partner, we're real life partners, but also like he's the programmer. He came up with the idea, and he likes my art, so he was like, "Hey, let's do this," and we started doing our Tiny Rex NFTs. And eventually, we weren't entirely sure what we were going to support. We knew we wanted to support a charity, but he was like, "Hey, you're a writer too," and I mean, I've taught kids before, so he was like, "Why don't you do a children's book?" And that ended up being like perfect because books were always there for me when no one else was, and I feel like that's something that every kid who's like lonely experiences at some point, is books being there for them. So I'd like to be part of that, and that's what I want to do with the Tiny Rex book. The first one is all about that, and we will be using 50% of our mint to print some of the books and also purchase some other helpful items, and then donate those books and items to children at orphanages, women's shelters. I'm in talks with somebody to actually go do a book reading at a women's shelter too.
Oh, that's fascinating. And I was reading on your website, Tiny Rex is located on the Solana platform. So can you care to share a bit like how do you guys come across choosing Solana of all the chains out there?
So he's the technical person. He knows all the crypto stuff. So when he says something, I go with that. But mostly it's just gas fees are crazy, and
Yeah.
Solana doesn't have that going on. And then you also see there are a lot more people that are interested in our kind of project on Solana. Like on OpenSea, you might see a lot more one-of-one art, but over on Solana, I do see a lot more generative projects and also charity projects, and so it's a really nice space. And honestly, I've loved that we chose it. I meet so many great projects and people on Solana.
Yeah, one thing I love about like proof of stake chains versus the proof of work chain is they're a lot more environmentally friendly. If you look at like chains like Ethereum, like until they do ETH 2.0, which we don't know when it's going to happen, right? There's a lot of concerns about how it relies on a lot of like polluting miners out there, and it's just wasting a lot of energy. Nothing bad. It's not like a real bash on Ethereum. I mean, they all have to start somewhere, but eventually, I'm hopeful that Ethereum will go to 2.0 and be cleaner soon. But also what you mentioned, right? Gas fees is just so crazy there. Like minting like an NFT there, like you're paying, I think it's like a $80 to $100 just to mint one NFT, and it could be tough for artists out there.
Honestly, I couldn't believe it when somebody told me that. I was like, I had no idea. I'm like, how can you be charged that high a fee just to buy one piece of art? That's not even the artist.
Yeah, and tell me a bit about your I guess your background. Are you a designer artist by background by trade, or an educator by trade? Seems like you have a lot of background.
I'm a bit all over. I went to school for English because I just really like English and I always wanted to be a writer. I was going to go into teaching, but then I had my child. And then I eventually did, when the pandemic hit, I started teaching English to children in China online. And but China doesn't allow foreign teachers anymore. So that ended. But like this is a nice transition, because I've always wanted to write anyways. And then I got into art with the NFTs. And so now I'm starting to combine my art and my writing together, both with Tiny Rex, and then I'm working on some of my other work as well.
Yeah, and then how it's a project launch. Like, is it launched? Is it live yet, or is it in the pre-launch stage at the moment?
It's in the pre-launch stage. We've contacted Magic Eden. We're trying to get on their launch pad. That seems to be like the best bet right now, and we want to give this project every chance of success.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like it's good that you guys have a plan. You guys plan to work with Launchpad, and because I've seen a lot of artists, they'll be given like bad advice, like bad advice, where like they say, oh, just go on OpenSea and mint your NFT on the ETH network, and they will expect like people will buy, but the reality is, like, if you want people to like participate in your NFT project, buy, right, you have to develop that like connection with the audience first. Like I like to tell people that like the NFT space is not like a magical place where like random people will buy stuff from you. Like you have to build that relationship, you have to build that connection with people, like, and you have to like, I like to say, like, share your story. Like it's all about like storytelling. Like you have to provide a context, right? And like what your mission, your why. And I just love like the project, and where the fact that you guys have a why, right? The why is you want to support children, like in like orphanages and women's shelter. And like is there a story behind like of all the causes, like why, like how do you guys end up with this cause?
Honestly, it fit the moment we thought about doing a children's book. It's who should benefit from that. Children, because like I want to give them the books too. Like I said, books were there for me. I know how it feels to read a book and just feel like it's there for you. The first Tiny Rex book is Tiny Rex is an orphan. He hatches alone. He doesn't have a family. It's him trying to find his place in the world and learn how to just be while figuring everything out himself and find his family.
Do you happen to have like a copy of the Tiny Rex book with you right now, or in your room?
I do not. I have a couple of finished pages. I don't know how well it would look if I put my tablet up to the webcam.
Yeah.
But actually, screen sharing exists.
You could screen share, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, give me just a second. I think I have some of the pages downloaded on my desktop. I only have the first 3 pages done right now.
Yeah. And this is one of the things I love about like creators like yourself. Just right now, I'm like, if you go on like OpenSea, and if you're on Avalanche and if Trade, right, you have like people who are just using like, they just making things for the sake of making things. I think on Avalanche, back in September, there was this guy who was like doing this project called like AVAX Lambos, where he had these ugly looking like Lambos drawn on like paint. That's how bad it was. Like he was like drawing on paint, and people were like buying them. And I was asking him like, hey, what utility do we have? And this guy would give a lot of like vague promises, like, oh, we're gonna make like racing game and such. And of course, as I expected, like a month after they launched, the guy disappeared, Discord disappeared, Telegram disappeared, Twitter disappeared, everything disappeared. And like, I think fortunately the community didn't really sunk that much money into it. It was only about like $5,000, but I still feel the pain for those people who actually bought one of those. But I love the fact that you guys have a vision, you guys have a project, you're working on something, and you're sharing it. And yeah, are you ready to? Do you want to screen share?
Yeah, absolutely. And I heard from somebody once, actually, I really liked what they said. They said it's good when you get to know the artist or the creator behind it, because the artist and the creator is far less likely to bounce on a project because they're invested in what they make. And if they show devotion to what they make, you know they're in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
Did this work?
Yep. So this is the first page, I guess.
Yeah. Let's see if I can easily transition to this. Does it show you the second page, or do I need to switch that?
I'm gonna have to switch that.
Okay. I've never screen shared before, to be honest.
You'll become better as you go. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. And I actually do have your your project on another on my other screen. So maybe I can share like what you have on Twitter right now, and this is just more for education for everyone to see like this like with project like this is some of the things I do look for when it comes down to like participating in a project, right? You want to see like what are you looking for, right? Um, a few metrics I look for is one, followers, are they getting traction? That's a big thing. You want to look at the people, right? If the writer is docs, right? If they are not afraid of revealing who they are, that's a good thing. Because most projects that disappear, the exit scam, tend to have anonymous teams. But I'm not saying that all anonymous projects are bad. There are some anonymous projects that did take off, but from a statistic perspective, you are more likely going to get wrecked if you go with an anonymous project. But and then also at the same time, like not all docs project where people do review themselves may follow through. Sometimes some projects may just not take off, right? Or maybe the creator just move on to other projects. If you guys are into gaming, some of you may know games like Star Citizen, right? Probably one of the biggest crowdfunding project with a lot of PR, and they're still not done yet. They're still like delivering. They're still like pushing back launch dates and such. So yeah, I can see, right? I love how Faye shares like what she's doing. That's like a good sign of like you can tell that there's a person behind it. Right? There's a person, they're working on it, they're being transparent. So, and I love how you guys put up memes. And was this an AMA session that you hosted? Or?
Oh no, I was just in it. I usually will hop in if I see Skirpy or Bavugar or like there's a couple of different projects I'll follow. I try to be in spaces every day when I can.
Yeah, and that's another good thing to look for too. Like if the founder, if the creator can be reached through spaces, if you see them like on different spaces, like you can ask them questions. And speaking of questions and such, another red flag I look for with NFT projects or even just any protocols in general is if you notice that the devs, the admins or the moderators of a project, they kick people out for asking like real questions or even just the hard questions, like questions like about like technical questions about the project, right? And these people get kicked out, right? It could be a warning sign, right? And another warning sign I do look for is if there's like a cult like feel to it, like because I know some projects that disappear, exit scam or rug, right? They will have like a positive only talk, right? Where if anybody is crushed, like they ask, like they try to like develop, like they ask like legitimate question, they get kicked out, or if they raise any concerns and people just like pounce on them, right? That could be a warning sign too. I'm not saying that it's bad, because we've seen some projects where projects that are like positive only vibe do work, but if the legitimate people who are asking legitimate questions are being kicked out, that is something to be careful about because that means they have something they're hiding. But yeah, so we do have about 5 minutes. Do you have any final thoughts or anything you want to add as before we start wrapping up?
I mean, we're going to be around. We're good with any questions because honestly, if you think of something that we haven't thought of, we want to improve that area. And we do have other like potential plans. We're not going to announce something that we're not 100% is going to happen. We don't want to like be somebody who's constantly putting stuff out to get hype and then we don't do it.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Speaking about hype and such, another thing I do look out for is you look at if the project has a white paper and you see that and in the white paper usually you have like a pie chart that shows like where the money is going. If they're selling stuff, they'll show that maybe like 10% is to the devs, 20% is to this, right? If you see something like 40% or a huge chunk like going towards, let's say, marketing, right, and hype building, that is something you want to be careful about, right? So and then to a smaller extent, some projects if they have like a referral program and the referral program is very generous, something like you get like 50% if you bring someone in. that is something you want to watch out for too, because for project like those, it's starting to become like a Ponzi, where it becomes like something where it relies on people to bring people in, right, to survive. And we are seeing games like Axie Infinity. Right? I'm not bashing them too much, but back in April last year, they were considered as like the jewel of blockchain gaming, the jewel of NFT collection, where people were making like an average salary, right, in countries like the Philippines. But if you look at it today, the return from like playing Axie Infinity is actually not that great right now. It's actually has dropped a lot. Especially with how Bitcoin dropped a lot and everything else came down, right? A lot of people are feeling not that rich. They don't want to like take on like risk on projects, and as a result, like projects like Axie Infinity, their payout has dropped below like minimum wage. Not like minimum wage in the developed world, but minimum wage in the Philippines. So it is unfortunate about how like these payouts could be volatile, like if you're not careful. So yes, so I think we're close to the hour, and yeah, we really do appreciate you for hopping on and sharing about your project, Faye. Next at the next Zoom session, we're gonna have Linda, who will be sharing about her NFT collection, where she wanted to like her NFT collection is all about like her connecting to her cultural heritage. I wanted to share her cultural, I guess, her journey on rediscovering her cultural heritage with everybody else on the blockchain. So yeah, so thank you, Faye, for joining us, and thank you everybody for joining us. So yeah, so I do hope if you guys do enjoy it, I do hope that you guys will come back in 2 weeks